there's a good idea. Yes, the rule says when it's taken out, but when it's brought back, you undo that essentially.
So, just quick question here, email template, is that a separate, like, it's a lookup, so I need to have email templates?
Templates, yeah, my templates. Email. And you can create templates. And you can create them as an admin for everybody, or just for yourself. So I'm going to just quickly... My machine is asleep. So I need to wrap. So the third thing you can do with workflow, last thing, is approval processes. You'll see workflow approval process. So again, an approval process is a special kind of workflow, and it also uses alerts. The same workflow actions can be consumed by an approval process. So those are the three. Standard, bulk standard workflow that updates synchronously. A time-based workflow where you queue some work for the future, or an approval process, which means if there's a funding request, it needs to be approved by your financial person. And so you say, create a fund request, and then you can add an approvals related list of businesses submit for approval. You can lock the record until the person approves, and then keep it locked, so that what happens is you say, I'm asking for 5,000 Rand, and that's what's going to get approved. If that's approved, the record says locked. You can't edit the 5,000 Rand after it's been approved. You have to, have an additional approval if you need another 500 Rand. You don't want people going in and getting approval for 5,000, then changing the value to 5,500, and the approval is still there. So you can lock records with approval processes. And that's the third kind of workflow. So we have those three, and we just made an acquisition of a company that will give us a full business process orchestration engine. So watch that space, because our whole workflow place is just going to go mushroom into a big, very exciting thing where you can do cross-object updates in workflow. You can do all kinds of things.
When do you think that'll come?
So it should be announced. I would say it's going to be announced imminently. But at very least, we should start seeing access to the tools by early next year, and then integration to the product. Who knows? It'll be about 6 months or so. Make sense? But those, I would use. You guys need time-based workflows, I think, because there's a lot of things you might do to remind you, or to remind your volunteers or coaches that they need to do things or they haven't. It's a great way to go.
I think basically we're using this right now for reporting, and it's working nicely for us, but I think we're not really using it for management.
For managing the process, yes.
Which
you always want to be a little bit careful. Don't make the time too tight, because someone may not have entered the data and they've actually done it, and they get pissed off.
The other thing we can do, Jess, is schedule like a regular email alert for we set those dates, and your data needs to be in by this date or whatever. So we can set like an email alert for that.
For me, a workflow rule that I want to set up is in this class enrollment that I'm doing. Every time like the rule meets the criteria that I enter a new participant in the class.
Yeah.
And then I mark him down as register and pay.
Yes.
An automatic email goes out letting them know that we received the registration and received the payment. So that can be done exactly the same way, right?
Absolutely. And you can do two things. You can do multiple things. That you can say if they've registered but not paid, you can send them reminders to pay.
Okay.
And when they pay, you can send them thank you for paying and confirmations. Those are all great things you can do in workflow. It saves you just time. Someone enters the information and the right email goes out automatically. That's all workflow stuff. And you use time-based to remind them. You can have multiple time triggers. You can say send them this email 15 days before, send them a stronger email 10 days before, send them the strongest one 5 days before, send them one the day before cancelling, or whatever. Saying we're cancelling. And you could change the field, do a field update at the same time to set them as unpaid and cancelled. So you can, from entering that information, you can automate the process all the way through with workflow.
One last question. What do you think are some of the Apex applications in the Apex that are that you recommend for nonprofits? And I know everybody needs are a little bit different.
Yeah.
But there's some things in there that you can think of.
I why we do it the way you're doing it is ask me about quicker integration. What do you need? Do you need expense management? And then if they are for cost, if they cost money, I don't hesitate to reach out to these people and say, what do you do for nonprofits? Because again, we try to encourage our partners to do special pricing for nonprofits, and they all seem to be jumping on, enjoying participating in our nonprofit community as well.
Okay.
Have you used the data level?
The what?
Data level, which is actually part of the application now.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, to upload contact.
Yeah. Well, not just context, any data.
Yeah.
That is spreadsheet based. You can upload very easily.
Okay.
So if you're not using that yet, you will probably find a use for it very soon.
Okay.
Whenever you're dealing with mass updates of records or just cleansing of data, often we find after 6 months or every so often, a lot of dirty data has managed to find its way into the database, and so we just pull a report, and someone knowledgeable just sits and cleans it up in the Excel, which is just easier to manipulate vast amounts of data. You just use the data to upload it, and much faster.
I'll show you quickly just our Excel template for data entry.
Now, gentlemen, have I cut this too short? Am I too short here? Or are you
No,
going to run it out
this is
fast now?
wonderful. Thank you very, very much. We really appreciated
You're
your
welcome.
Yeah, it's been great.
offering of your time to help us.
It's great to be here and encourage you in what you're doing. So, you guys are doing great work. Fantastic work.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.